Social welfare has always been there and we support it, but get a job.
Darian Fenton.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr Chair. And I won't say it's a pleasure to follow that member, because her formula, her solution to the lack of jobs in New Zealand seems to be to send them all down the farm, or perhaps even up the chimney. Perhaps that's what that member thinks we should be doing with this bill. Look, this bill is not about you, Minister Lee. This bill is about the people that I talk to, that we all talk to on a regular basis, and I want to talk about one woman in particular and what she goes through. She lost her job last March. She spends 3 or 4 days a week working, looking for work, filling in forms, surfing the internet, and she's just lucky that she's got a computer at home, because so many people don't have computers at home, they can't afford it. Going through pointless work and income seminars and training, pointless, when, as we've already heard, many of the people applying for jobs, looking for work, are already trained, already have skills, waiting on the phone to talk to her work broker. Can you imagine anything less dignified than that? Waiting on the phone to talk to someone, a job broker, who's apparently broking a job for her, I have to say has failed completely so far. Occasionally, very occasionally, getting to go to a job interview. This woman has applied for something like 75 jobs, and she has had, I think, 3 job interviews. She is absolutely devastated every time she applies for a job and she gets the rejection slip. She is devastated every time she applies for a job and she has to go back with her tail between her legs to Work and Income and say, I did not get the job. She has to start over and over and over again. And so I think that the members of the National Party have no idea about the realities of people looking for work in this country. They have no idea how absolutely undignified it is, how people like this woman, who is really committed to finding a job, would do anything to get a job, how humiliating it is for her. And then we hear from the Minister the other day that what happens in Work and Income now is they've got this new tradition. They ring the bell every time someone gets a job. Now, I know this woman would be delighted if the bell were rung for her, but it hasn't been since last March, since March 2012. She's still looking for work. And now there's this bill that threatens sanctions and other punitive measures, as if life is not already difficult enough. And we know that there are no jobs. We know how difficult it is. We've heard the stories today about people lining up for minimum wage jobs. Sam Lotuainga says there's 16,000 jobs on Seek. 16. Has he had a look at any of them? Have you looked them up? 90-day trial periods, minimum wage jobs, good jobs like that, The other thing, excuse me, Mr Chair, that worries me about this bill is that the government is looking to contract out work testing. And we've seen, this is a UK idea, and we've seen the failure that's been. And just this week, there was a story about a job centre that's been pinged for setting targets for benefit sanctions. And so what we've got in this job centre in the UK is league tables for the staff to prove not that people are getting jobs so they can ring the bell, but they are sanctioning people. And what the government in the UK has had to do is launch an inquiry into this after it's been forced to admit that job centres are setting targets and league tables to sanction benefit claimants. Now that's the path we go down with this bill, with the contracting out of work testing. It is based on a false premise that there are jobs out there, that unemployed people don't want to work, and that there are enough jobs around if you really try. It's an ugly piece of legislation, I have to say. It's an ugly piece of legislation. It is based on blaming those who have been unable to find work. It is putting the pressure on those who are struggling. It is ignoring the problem that we have in this country of children that are growing up in poverty, the fact that their parents want to work and want to do the right thing and are unable to. It says that...
Alfred Naro.
I move that the question be now put.
Honourable Leanne Dalziel.